Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. It's Cynicalex, and today I wanted to discuss the new anniversary reward that we got today, which is an XGENE 6-star selector. And I wanted to go through the choices and give you my opinions on them because there's quite a few viable options depending on what you need. And then at the end of the video, when there's time, I'm going to talk a little bit about my comic cards and do a little bit of crafting, re-rolling, sort of like crafting gambling. So anyways, these are the characters that you can select from the XGENE selector. Now, right off the bat, I would basically exclude the bottom 4 characters there: Rogue, Beast, Storm, and Cyclops. I would just automatically exclude them because they're farmable. You can get like 12 to 15 bios per day. Whenever there's an XGENE event, you can double that because it gives you 20 runs instead of 10. So it's just very, very easy to farm up, and there's really no rush to get any of these characters farmed unless you plan, let's say, on tier 3ing Rogue, and so you need to build her up and stuff like that. But even so, they're very, very easy to farm. So I basically only focus on the top row. Furthermore, I would basically exclude Domino and Phantom X because you can also farm them from the Deadpool Epic Quest, and they're just not very good for endgame content. Phantom X has never gotten a uniform. Domino has gotten a uniform, and she's okay with it, but again, she's nowhere near endgame content. She's just like a decent Shadowland character. I would also sort of exclude Bishop, Warpath, and Angel because you can get them all from the Dimension shop. Now, if you are using all of your Dimension tokens on comic cards or some other form of farming, like if you're spending all your Dimension tokens, not here, but I do this sometimes. But let's say you're spending all your Dimension tokens here because you're like, you know, Alex, you told me to build up my cards. I'm building up my inventory with 6-star mythic cards so that I can use that to craft stars on my other cards, yada, yada, yada. So I can't use my tokens for these 3 mutants. Then you might consider using one of the selectors on them. To be honest, Angels, they're all pretty much Shadowland only. I don't know if Angel's actually better than Warpath or Bishop, to be honest with you, but they're basically Shadowland only. Again, I wouldn't recommend doing that. I wouldn't recommend using the selector on them because you can use them, you can get them for the tokens. But, you know, I can kind of understand why some people might do that. However, I do think there are better options. The best options, the 2 best options in terms of how difficult the characters are to farm are X23 and Kid Omega. Those 2 characters are your, in my opinion, your second and first choice. I think Kid Omega should be your first choice, and I think X23 should be your second choice. Now, overall, X23 is actually the second highest or the second best character on this list in terms of how far she can go because she can be transcended. She has her new, all different Wolverine uniform. And she's a pretty good, like pretty solid combat female. And then of course Rogue is like the best or the second best speed tier 3 in the game. But besides that, there's a lot of effort that you have to put, there's a lot of investment you have to put into X23. And so my first choice is actually Kid Omega because you don't need to pump a lot of resources into him. You get him to 6 stars with the 6-star selector, and then you build him up to tier 2 with some extra bios from Danger Room. You use a tier 2 ticket on him so you don't have to farm up those last 150 bios. And then you just go ahead and use him in Shadowland. And this is where he's really going to shine, where X23 basically doesn't shine. Every single week, I always use him on stage 34, always. And he clears it, he solos it for me. He's stage 70, he's level 70, excuse me. I have really good cards, but he's amazing for stage 34, and you need him because you need to use a Phoenix Force character. So rather than having to buy a uniform for Cyclops or for Magic or Colossus, or rather than having to use Jean Grey, you can just get a 6-star selector and use it on Kid Omega. I strongly advise you to use it on Kid Omega. If you don't want to, then like I said, the other most difficult character to farm on that list of characters that you can use it on is X23. The other character that's actually really hard to farm on this list besides Kid Omega and X23 is Nightcrawler. However, Nightcrawler is substantially worse than X23 and Kid Omega. Again, he can go further than Kid Omega can because he can be transcended with his newest unit. Well, he can be transcended and he has a newest uniform, but I don't really think that matters because honestly, I use Kid Omega more and I play with him more weekly than I do Nightcrawler. So I would put Kid Omega first, I would put X23 second, and then from there, it's kind of tough. Like for the difficulty of farming, maybe I would put Nightcrawler third if you're just looking for a collector's point of view, or I might put Domino third or fourth. And then I would put like Rogue 5th or 6th, even though you can farm them because she's just a very good character if you're planning on going all the way with her. And then I would probably, then if I had all those characters, I would look back at maybe Phantom X, Warpath, Bishop, or Angel. And then my last picks would be, of course, Beast. Second last would be Storm. Third last would be Cyclops. Cyclops is decent at tier 1, at least for the leadership and stuff like that, and the passive. So he provides a little bit more benefit. Storm, keep in mind, is only going to give you any support if you have her newest uniform. You have to have the newest uniform, so her value really doesn't ramp up until then. But hopefully this discussion has helped you choose a character. I'm going to be choosing, well, I have 1,000 bios for Kid Omega. Okay, I'm not going to be choosing Kid Omega. I have her uniform Mythic. I honestly don't know who to choose then. I guess I would choose Phantom X or Domino. It really doesn't matter. I'm just going to choose Nightcrawler. Maybe he'll get a uniform in the future, but I already have X23's uniform at Mythic, and I have 1,000 bios for Kid Omega waiting for his uniform if it ever comes out to instantly Mythic it. So yeah, that was my choice just based on uniforms because I own all of these characters. But yeah, that is for the 6-year anniversary, and again, you'll find that in your inbox as the gift that expires in 2 days. So now that we've gone through that and I've given you my advice, if you have more questions, you can obviously ask me down below, but I think, you know, sort of, I've cleared up all the questions you can have about that. I want to talk briefly about my cards and what I'm doing next. So, ran into a little roadblock in what I wanted to do because I don't have enough ignore defense. I've got 30% ignore defense, which seems like a lot, but it's actually the minimum for most characters, and actually I have some characters, for example, that don't even have 50%, like, for example, Daredevil here. I mean, he has, no, he's 49.9, and that's with the team up. Yeah, that's with the 5% team up. So if I take this team up away from him, like if I go over here and then I swap over to him when the team up is not active, then he's actually at 44.9%, believe it or not. So yeah, kind of weird for a guy who has fully crafted cards to not have max ignore defense on his characters. So I was going to equip my next crafted card to go up to 8% Pierce, which was going to be the Luna Snow card. And the Luna Snow card is pretty decently rolled. It's got cooldown, and it's got 2 blue stars. Cool. However, it was going to have to replace either the Loki card, which has cooldown. Okay, that's fine, but it also has 5% ignore defense. Or it was going to have to replace the Black Widow card, which has cooldown, whatever, but it also has 6% ignore defense. So I was going to lose 5 or 6% ignore defense, and I absolutely cannot do that. As I just showed you, most of my characters are on the cusp of being under 50%, so this would send them all careening. I mean, it would put Daredevil under 40% ignore defense, which is just an absolute joke. So what I'm actually going to do is something different, and this is not really recommended to do. I'm specifically doing it because I'm a content creator and I'm trying to bring you guys that incremental Pierce buffs, okay? That 2%, 4%, 6%, 8 or 9%, etc. Now, I say 8 or 9% because we're going, basically what we're going to do, I'm at 6% Pierce right now. I'm going to re-roll the Guardians card, okay? I'm just going to lock the max HP. And I'm gonna re-roll everything else. I am gonna re-roll the crit rate. I got 2 re-rolls, so we can do 2 max. And basically, I'm either gonna hope that I get 2 blue stars and I get ignore defense. If I get ignore defense, then I can equip the Luna card. Or I'm gonna hope that I don't get any blue stars. Sounds weird, I know, but or I get 1 blue star. And then I'm going to equip the White Fox card because unlike the Luna card, the White Fox card has ignore defense. So in that case, I would not be losing the ignore defense. I can afford to lose the cooldown, right? Because both of these cards have ignore defense and cooldown, which made them kind of awkward to remove. But I can actually afford to lose 9 or 11% cooldown because right now I'm at 43% cooldown. So I can afford to drop down to 33 or 34%, depending on what happens. So again, not something I necessarily advise. I'm also not locking the crit rate because I want attack speed on one of my cards. I have not rolled attack speed. So this card, I'm not going to be re-rolling the 5th option, and the 5th option is where you can get attack speed. Sorry, the 5th option there is where you can get attack speed. I like the cooldown here, so I'm keeping that. So this card is never going to roll cooldown. I have crit rate on this card already. And then if we go over here, this card has poison resist. Yeah, maybe I could re-roll this to cooldown, to attack speed, but I don't want to risk losing the blue star. And then this one has cooldown as well. So I don't really have many options left for a card to have attack speed. And I have 16% attack speed, but I would really like to have closer to 25% attack speed. So yeah, crossing my fingers. Best case scenario would obviously be all the stars turn blue. And then we would go from 6% to 9% Pierce. We're going to go from 6% to 9% Pierce regardless. Either we go from 6 to 9 here, or we go from 6 down to 4 and then up to 9 with the White Fox card. Best case scenario, everything turns blue, and the fifth option is crit rate. The other thing is I'm re-rolling this card instead of re-rolling this card, because this card, although the colors are wrong, it's red and green, it has two really good stats, all attack and crit damage. I don't want to lose those necessarily for no reason. This one has mostly bad stats, mind resist, cold resist, cold resist. I don't really need that. Maybe if Mephisto did cold damage, but he does fire damage. So anyways, we're going to be locking the max HP, and that's it. We're going to let everything else rip. Ignore defense would be great here. And of course, attack speed would be amazing here as well. If we get ignore defense here, this could be really, really mint. And maybe I could equip the Luna card and go up to 8%. There's a possibility we go up to 8%, but yeah. So we're just going to lock the max HP here. It's a little bit risky, but let's fire up the old caboose and see what happens. I only have 3 rerolls anyways. All right, let's see what happens here. Okay, not enough blue stars. We get ignore defense and we get attack speed. Okay, so this is really good. This is really, really good. Now, I know you might not be thinking it's really, really good because I just lost 2% Pierce, but it is really, really good because I just got a perfect stat. So in my head, and you can sort of think about it this way if you want as well, every time I re-roll a crafted card, if I get the blue color that I want and the stat that I want, I've basically knocked off 1 out of 30 on making 6 perfect crafted cards. So this card now has 2 out of 6 perfect crafted stats. The blue HP and now the blue attack speed, which is amazing. So it's actually 2 out of 6. So when I look at it this way, it's actually amazing because this card has 1, 2, 3, 4 perfect stats. This card has 1 perfect stat, but you sort of get what I'm saying. So even though I've made a lot of odd crafting decisions and I've probably wasted more resources than I would have if I was just going for max blue stars and that kind of thing, I've gone the long way around to try and get incremental Pierce increase. I've been really happy with the number of perfect stats I've been able to roll. I believe now I'm right around half perfect, which means if I equip the Luna card and the White Fox card, that across all 30 of those crafted stats, 6 crafted stats per card, 5 crafted cards, 15 of those 30 stats would be the exact stats that I want them with the color blue that I want. So it's really, really good. But now we've got the ignore defense, we've got the attack speed. Cool, the attack speed is gravy basically. We're now up to 26% attack speed, which is awesome. We're now up to 40% ignore defense. So even if I lose 5 or 6% ignore defense, it's totally fine. Now we can afford to instead equip the White Fox card. So this is not necessarily the most ideal situation because we're going from 6% Pierce down to 4 and then up to 9. So we're sort of skipping the 8% Pierce, but it's only a difference of 1% Pierce, and I can't, I don't have infinite resources. I can't control exactly what stats I get, and it could literally take weeks for me to fine tune this and re-roll everything perfectly to line it up to be able to go 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. And basically from there, anyways, once we hit 10, we couldn't even really hit 10 unless I purposely re-rolled one of the blue stats away from blue, which would be really weird on the White Fox card. And then from 10, you can't start going up by 2s anymore because then the cards no longer give 2%. If you get 6 blue stars, they give 5%. So it starts going up by 3. Then it would be 13, 16, 19, etc. 22, 25. You sort of get what I'm saying. Because the increments don't go up by 2 anymore because there's no more card slots and there's no more 2% buffs. So we're going to be unequipping the Black Widow card. Well, yeah, this is the better card to unequip because the Loki card has all attack. So I'd rather keep the all attack and physical attack and ignore defense. We're going to lose the max HP. But we lose less all attack, and then it's just the energy attack. Yeah. So we're going to unequip this card here. We're unequipping it, and we're paying the cost because that card basically turns into a free reroll. So you pay 600 crystals to basically have a free premium card to reroll. That's a great option. And now we're going to go ahead and equip this White Fox card, and we're going to equip it right here. Bada bing, bada boom. And there we go. So now our new stat totals look like this. We jump up to 52% ignore defense. We now have 34% cooldown instead of 43, but that's okay. And then we also end up with 89% all attack, 26% physical attack, 25% energy attack, 26 attack speed, which I really like. But we dropped from, I believe it was 42 to 33% max HP. So we did lose about 9% max HP. We also have the conflicting effects. You can see there both of those effects are for physical attack. There's a 5% when dealing a crit and 5% when attacking. I do not believe those stack, so it's not beneficial to have both of them, but I'm going to be removing one anyways for the Luna card after I test out 9% Pierce, and then we jump to 11% Pierce with the Luna card. And then from there, we won't actually be swapping cards anymore. We will just be re-rolling the existing cards that I have equipped. We have 14% dodge, which is not bad, but I'm really psyched about that 89% all attack and that 26% attack speed. I really like having to not worry about attack speed. Attack speed is one of the worst stats to have to give a character that doesn't already have it, because it just gives you the least amount per Uru and other, like you waste a really good roll. Like for example, right, if you have a uniform on a character and you want to roll attack speed, you're losing, right? You're losing either ignore defense or HP for attack speed. Or on the first one, you're losing dodge for attack speed, which is really, or skill cooldown for attack speed. Also, you know, you're just getting attack speed Uru is just kind of annoying because they don't really give you that much. One attack speed Uru is like less, one mythic attack speed Uru is like less than 1% attack speed. So it's really not a good look. But yeah, I'm happy with how that turned out. Let me know what you guys think. I now have 9% Pierce rather than 6% Pierce, so we jumped up by 3% now. But hit me up in the comments down below. Let me know what you think. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Take care.